My name is Matt Clark. I'm the commander of the Major Crimes Division for the Denver Police Department. It's spelled C-L-A-R-K. I appreciate you coming out here today, giving us an opportunity to provide an update on the incident that occurred near Colfax and Verbena, as well as request the public's assistance in identifying and locating the offenders responsible for this incident. To provide an overview of the incident, just after 1:50 this afternoon, Denver police officers received a ShotSpotter alert notifying them that gunfire was present in the 1400 block of Verbena Street. The officers began responding to that incident, and while doing so, there was several calls to the Denver 911 center reporting multiple victims had been shot at that location. Denver Health ambulances and Denver police officers responded to the scene. They located 5 victims at that location. One victim, an adult male, was pronounced deceased at the scene. 4 other individuals, 2 adult males, 2 adult females, were transported to area hospitals. At this point, 3 individuals are in critical condition, and 1 person is stable with non-life-threatening injuries. I don't have any further information on their injuries at this point. Homicide investigators from the Denver Police Department are currently on scene conducting the investigation. At this point, we know that 3 individuals were in a vehicle that was traveling northbound on Verbena Street in the 1400 block. Our victims were on the west curb line on the east side of a market there at Colfax and Verbena. They were just standing on the sidewalk, no apparent conflict there. The vehicle stops at Colfax. 3 individuals got out of that vehicle and fired multiple rounds from handguns at the group standing on the sidewalk. Those 3 individuals then got back into the vehicle. They fled eastbound on Colfax. Patrol officers and undercover officers recovered that specific vehicle in the area of 12th and Yosemite. From there, we have information and evidence that the offenders in this case got into another vehicle, a black SUV. We have a photo of that vehicle that has been tweeted out on the department's Twitter account, and we'll provide the digital file as well. But that specific vehicle is the one that we believe that is most currently associated with the offenders. We don't know if it's their vehicle or somebody else's. At this time, investigators are currently interviewing witnesses. We'll be out on scene for a while as we process this crime scene here, and we will have Colfax closed for the near future, so alternate routes are advised. Again, we'll be processing the scene, continuing to determine what the motive in this shooting is. I don't yet know what the motive for the shooting was. I don't have any information if there was a connection between the offenders and the victims in this case. And I also don't have clear descriptions to provide on the 3 offenders yet. Based on the current video that I've seen, I can't provide race or age, further demographics on those individuals. So with that, that's the briefing I can provide. Just ask at this point to be aware of that vehicle that we're looking for. If it looks familiar, if you think it's associated, please call Crime Stoppers, 720-913-STOP. Anonymous mechanism to report information to the police, and we'd really appreciate the assistance in quickly identifying and apprehending these individuals. Any questions I can answer at this point, sir? The very preliminary investigation that's been conducted has yielded the information that I provided.
ShotSpotter indicate how many shots were fired?
Multiple shots were fired based on ShotSpotter.
More than 6?
I'm sorry?
More than 6?
More than 6, yes.
So you said that you covered the initial vehicle and then got into another vehicle. Was that a carjacked vehicle? Was it their own?
It was. We don't know. Again, I don't know if it was their own vehicle. It was not carjacked. It does not appear to have been an occupied vehicle. So we're trying to determine if it was associated that they had put there, or that they knew it, or if it's a newly stolen vehicle. I'm not certain.
Does this convenience store have surveillance video?
We're working that as part of the investigation.
Is there any indication that was targeted or maybe
Again, we don't know what the motivation was. We're working to determine. I don't know if there's a connection between the offenders and the victims in this case.
How soon after ShotSpotter detected the shots were police on scene?
It was several minutes from the ShotSpotter, but once it was upgraded to a shooting, officers began responding in an emergency response to the scene with the ambulances.
But how concerned are you for public safety then if these offenders are still out
Well, we're extremely concerned. We're talking like right now. It's almost 4 o'clock, and on Colfax, this happened about 2 o'clock. It's a heavily populated area. It's absolutely concerning that this occurred in broad daylight. And so you see the resources that are devoted from the police department, not only from the patrol side, but the investigators that are working this, our crime scene technicians. We're going to work very diligently to identify these individuals.
Clark, is this in the area that's considered a crime hotspot? I know it's in Yosemite and Colfax. Is this within that area? And were there any extra resources patrolling this area today?
This incident occurred within one of the city's hotspots, and just in general, that it has a higher volume and presence of uniformed patrol officers and undercover officers.
So I asked that because there were some people who were asking questions about getting any sort of reverse 911 notification of whether they should shelter in place or stay locked down. I mean, was that utilized? Should it have been utilized?
It was not. The question was about the reverse 911 and should it have been utilized. In this case, we did not do a reverse 911. We knew very quickly that the offenders had fled in a vehicle. We knew we could place them in getting into another vehicle and fleeing the area from that point. So we do not believe the offenders are in the immediate area at this point. Not at this point. I don't have an age range to describe them at this point.
How many other agencies is DPD coordinating around the metro area?
We've certainly shared the information with our law enforcement partners, recognizing we're close to Adams County and Aurora, but it's also been broadcast metro area throughout to all law enforcement officers as well.
Can you speak to how, just in case people know, how ShotSpotter works and how effective it is and how you respond?
Certainly, ShotSpotter is a tool that the Denver Police Department, the City of Denver, has invested in. It helps us pinpoint gunshot locations that are occurring in different areas of the city, and those are identified based upon high frequency of gun violence. And essentially, when a gunshot is registered by the system, it alerts the patrol officers in their vehicle in real time and directs them to where that gunfire had just occurred.
As a police officer, it's been a violent weekend. It looks like it's continuing. What's going on? And put on your psychology hat for a moment. What's going on in the city?
I can't speak to what's going on. We are concerned with the violence that we're seeing, the homicides, this homicide specifically, and we're working diligently to identify and hold these offenders accountable and make sure they can't victimize any other individuals.
Are you getting cooperation from people in the area?
We do have several witnesses we're working with at this point, and we're asking for the community's help. Contact Crime Stoppers, talk to us, call the Denver Police Department non-emergency number if you have information, and we'll further this investigation.
To that end, Andrew, do you have an overall message for the tenants? You have long-term tenants over here, a lot of the apartment complex right here. A lot of people seem to be actually taken out, really, understandably so, by what happened right next door. Do you have an overall message for them?
Right. The Denver Police Department's aware of the concerns of what's going on in the area. We are putting additional resources into this area. This was identified as one of the higher violent crime areas, so it is receiving additional attention. And part of that response is not only just saturation, but it's also coordinating with the community to help further and have a combined response to combat this violent crime.
Question over here. When we, and I didn't hear what you just said, but when you do look at all the new development in the Colfax corridor between here and the Capitol building, what is the challenge for law enforcement to try to address issues like this and take a look at the whole factor of expansion here?
Well, I think one of the things in this case specifically is going to be figuring out why this happened and determining what the nexus was, if it's the area, if it's the individuals, and that'll help us combat some of the issues as well to determine if there was a connection or if this was a random crime. Will help us kind of move forward with that response. Anything else? Great, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.